How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? This is RiflemanReviews coming at you today with kind of a discussion about caliber and my carry caliber of choice, which is the 40 Smith & Wesson, soon to be the 357 SIG once I get my hands on some conversion barrels and test it out. This isn't to condemn anyone's choice about what their caliber is, their carry caliber of choice. It's more along the lines of just being somewhat educational and accurately comparing different types of handgun calibers that are out there. If all you can afford to shoot is 9mm and you shoot it well, you can put lots of shots on target accurately and quickly with 9mm, then by all means. My primary purpose for making this video, however, is I was in the gun store the other day, and I won't name the gun store, but heard a customer ask, which one should I choose, the 40 or the 9mm? And the gun shop keeper was saying that, they're basically the same thing, so I'd just get a 9mm and get more rounds. And I just kind of cringe whenever I hear that. Modern loadings for 9mm are better than in the past, and especially if you get it in the plus P and plus P plus SAMI specs loadings. However, they're not the same. You usually get more mass on target with the 40. You usually still get more muzzle energy and muzzle velocity for the most part, and we'll cover that. We're going to cover one manufacturer, which is Underwood Ammo. It happens to be one of my more favorite manufacturers. And we're just going to cover the basic manufacturer specifications for muzzle velocity and muzzle energy for 9mm 357 SIG, 40 Smith & Wesson, 45, and 10mm will kind of come in the second half of the video, since when we're comparing platforms, generally these are about the same size platform, especially in duty carry, compact, and then subcompacts when you start losing a little bit of the size differences, especially with like single stack 9s. They tend to be a lot smaller, more compact than single stack 40s. But for the most part, these all come in the same size package of gun, same size. However, you're going to generally lose anywhere between, depending on if it's single stack or double stack, anywhere between 1 to like 3, 4, 5 rounds if you go with the 40 Smith & Wesson. Probably not as much as 5 rounds generally, but definitely more times than not, you're going to lose about 3 rounds if you opt for 40, 357 SIG over the 9mm. So that is an advantage the 9mm has, is capacity, and generally speaking cost. Even the hotter loadings here are still a few dollars cheaper per box than the 40 or especially the 357 SIG. So let's just kind of get into it first. So let's talk about light loadings for the caliber, and by light I mean 115 grain projectile for the 9. Now, according to Underwood's website, it's going to be clocking, at 115 grains plus P plus. It's going to be, the jack of the hollow point. It's going to be clocking out the muzzle at 1,400 feet per second. That's the plus P plus. The standard pressure they have listed for 1,200 feet per second. That's a 200 foot per second difference between plus P plus and standard pressure 9mm, which most of you, I would assume, probably practice with standard pressure, or most of you will practice that. Some of you might carry the plus P plus. Now, a big argument is 40 and 357 beats up your guns. If you're going to shoot plus P plus ammunition through your 9mm, you're doing just as much wear and tear on that handgun as shooting 40 Smith & Wesson. So, moving into it, the muzzle energy out of the plus P plus is at 501, and then standard pressure is about 368. This is all factory specifications. Now, looking at light for caliber, same white bullet, generally the same bullet coming out of a 357 SIG, you're looking 1,550 feet per second. Folks, that's insane. That's 300, over standard velocity, that's 350 feet per second faster than standard velocity 9, and it's 150 feet faster than a plus B plus 9mm, which translates into, I lost mine. Okay, 604 foot-pounds of energy for, not 604, 614 foot-pounds of energy with 115 grain 357 SIG. That's incredible, comparing to the plus B plus 9mm and the same weight bullet. That's 113 foot-pounds more energy per shot. So that's incredible. That's a lot more capability in a round, in one single round you're firing over the 9mm, and that's 357 SIG. Moving along to the mid-weight for that caliber, or let's look at actually 40 Smith & Wesson light for calibers 135. That's probably as light as you'd ever want to go for a 40. And then you can buy them a little bit lighter. That's a little more boutique ammo. 1,442 feet per second. That's still faster than the hottest 9mm round for the lightest 40 load, and it's still heavier. And it's translating into 623 foot-pounds of energy. So even more than the 357 SIG at that weight of bullet. And this is all generally speaking for duty-sized handguns, so 4.5 to 5-inch barrels. So that load right there for the 40 is a top contender out of this class of ammo. It's one of the fastest, top 3 of the fastest, and it's also top tier for delivering muzzle energy, on target more or less. So middle caliber, 124 grain. Plus P plus is at 1,300 foot per second, translating into 465 foot-pounds of energy. 357 SIG is looking at for 125 grain bullet, so about the same weight bullet. You're getting 1475, so 175 feet per second faster, and 604 foot-pounds of energy, as opposed to this 465 that a 9mm is giving you. And then, like I said before, the 40 is about a comparable weight between all 3 of those, kind of a lighter caliber. But the mid-weight for a 40, again, more mass, 155, 1,300 feet per second, which is comparable to the plus B plus velocity, and 582. So you're still getting another, over another 100 foot-pounds of energy over the 9mm, again in plus P plus, and even more so, about 200, not 200, but even more so on the standard pressure 9mm, 364 in a midweight, as opposed to 582. That's a significant difference in muzzle energy, and you're still getting more mass on target. So that's translating into, deeper penetration more times than not. That's just physics. Heavier bullet going fast is going to take longer to stop. Objects in motion, you want to stay in motion. So let's see. Now let's move into heavy for caliber. So this is where we'll take the 357 SIG out, since we've already looked at the 125 and 115 grains. We're going to look at 147 grain 9mm versus 165 jacketed hollow points for 40. Plus B plus for 147 is clocking out 1175 feet per second, translating into 451 foot-pounds of energy. Moving down, again, 40 Smith & Wesson is 165, so we're talking 20 grains heavier of a projectile. It's still traveling, 25 feet per second faster delivering, you know, nearly 70 foot-pounds, over 70 foot-pounds more energy on target. You know, which is 70 foot-pounds. That's not a significant amount, but it still is more. It still is, you know, a heavier bullet, and it's still hitting harder. And even more so again over the standard pressure 147 grain, 414. So, you know, that's definitely, you know, as opposed to the 528. So this just gives you a range of what 9mm is capable of between 414 and 451. And actually, if I am not mistaken, I don't think that's even standard pressure 9mm, because on Underwood's website, the only 147 grains that they had listed was plus P 147. So it could be even slower than 1170 or 1125 for the standard pressure, and then even less muzzle energy. So now that I kind of, you know, beat the dead horse, is like whenever someone tells you that these calibers are the same or they perform the same, it's just not true. You know, physics is gonna, like, at least the math portion, I don't know what exactly the effects are when the metal's on the meat, you know. I don't have that kind of experience. All I go is off of the numbers and the physics based off of muzzle energy, you know, and muzzle velocity. That's really what you can go on 9 times out of 10 to kind of get an accurate judgment of how these rounds will perform. Next, you know, there's other factors, barrel length. Then there's, you know, the weight of the bullet and how it interacts with the twist of the barrel. Will a really light 40 Smith & Wesson still be accurate out of your pistol? I think, you know, for combat accuracy, yes. I don't know exactly. I know I've bought some of this ammo before. It functions flawlessly, which is another consideration. Will it still function? If you got a big old bullet for that 9mm in a small platform, will it still feed reliably? So those are all questions you got to ask yourself. And just really the best way to determine is, you know, kind of get the load down. Other people do videos on, you know, if you got a subcompact gun, and Underwood does a pretty decent job, is if you've got like a 3 or 4 inch barrel, they'll also provide load data for that. But this is, I try to standardize it and just go off of the 4.5 inch, 5 inch barrels that they offered that data for. So overall, looking at these smaller double stack or single stack type handguns for carry and duty, you know, the top 3 performers for muzzle energy is coming out of the 357 SIG and the 125 and 115 variety, and then the third is that 40 Smith & Wesson and the 135. Those are the fastest. And the slowest out of plus B plus ammunition for the 9mm, we're looking at the 147 grain, which wouldn't be much surprise to anybody, and then the 165, the heavy caliber or the heavy bullet for the 40 Smith & Wesson. Muzzle energy, we're looking at lowest rates of muzzle energy aside from the standard pressure 9 is still the plus P plus ammunition for the 9mm, you know, being the 147 grain being the weakest, if you will. Then it goes to the 124, and then the 115, since it's got so much more velocity, which translates into muzzle energy. Its most potent round is that 500, and the hottest round that we have, or the most, you know, most muzzle energy is at 40 Smith & Wesson again, at 623. So we're hitting over 122 foot-pounds of energy more per shot than this one here. So, and then 357 SIG is a close second. So I was actually surprised to see that 40 Smith & Wesson was outperforming the 357 SIG, especially in the 125 grain loading. So that's pretty impressive load data actually that Underwood's providing here. So your next step is, now that you determine 40 Smith & Wesson, yeah, if you can afford it, is probably the best all-around option out of what I presented to you here. A couple dollars more per box. If you can swing that, that's fine. But next you got to see, first of all, will your weapon feed it reliably? So you got to buy a couple hundred rounds, make sure that your weapon can feed it reliably. And then, is it accurate? Can you shoot it accurately? Not only, interfacing with the barrel twist, but, is the recoil manageable for you? Because if it's too much recoil and you can't get good follow-up shots or decent shots, then maybe 9mm is your choice. Definitely not the same round as some gun shop owners might say, or some internet commandos. But, they're probably just as effective. Like if you take one center mass, whether it's 9mm, 40, 10mm, whatever it is, 22 long rifle, you're going to go down if you get shot in the heart or, in the central nervous system. Shot placement is always key. But clearly, this is from the manufacturer. Clearly, we kind of see the winner that comes out if you just do some basic comparisons that anybody can do. Alright, so let's move on to, and this is where I might lose some people. So I have these bullets here, or these cartridges here. We got a 40, right here in the center we got a 45, and then a 10mm for comparison. I don't have a 357 SIG or a 9 to compare to y'all, but let's just move this out of the way. You notice these are very similar in size, except for, obviously the circumference of the round. Now the reason why I separated these from the other three is, generally speaking, these are going to be in larger platform type handguns. They're either going to have a larger frame to accommodate the larger round, or they're going to be slimmed down into a single stack. And when for example, like 1911 single stack, SIG P220 single stack, Glock 36, I think, is a single stack. Correct me if I'm wrong, not a big Glock guy. So, and then, aside from the 227, the P227, that's a semi-double stack 45. I mean, they come in double stacks, but man, you're almost holding on to a brick at that point. Same thing with the FNX 45. You get double stack 45, and the Glock, bigger frame. Double stack 45, same thing with the 10mm, probably comparable size frame. So anything, I won't say anything, but most frames that you fit a 45 into, you can generally fit that 10mm. So let's compare them. Like, what would you go for? Granted, 10mm more expensive in every single way, as far as practice ammo and defensive ammo. But I mean, I don't know how often you're going to shoot. I hope you shoot often, but why not get the more capable round? So let's take a look. 45 ACP, all plus P rounds according to Underwood Ammo. 185 light for caliber for 45 ACP. Going 1,200 foot per second, 592 foot-pounds energy. Light for caliber for 10mm, I went, as low as probably 155 grain. You can go lower. You can go get that 135 grain that 40 Smith & Wesson shoots, because it's the same bullet essentially. And it's going to be going about 1,700 feet per second if you get that 135 grain. But let's just stick with this 155 going 1,500 feet per second. Wow, that's like 357 Magnum. That's incredible. 774 foot-pounds of energy. So almost 600, and we're approaching 800 on here. So crazy amount of difference there. That I would much rather have that 10 on me than the other. And then 300 feet per second quicker for a light for caliber. Next we'll go to the middle weights, 200 grain plus P, 1,100 feet per second, 538 foot-pounds of energy. 180 grain Jacketed hollow point, 1,300 feet per second, 676. just significant differences. We're looking at 200 feet per second, consistently different, faster than the 45. And then heavy for caliber. Even if you did the 200 and the 200 grain, just to match up the same weight bullet, the 200 is going 11. This one's going 1250, so you're still going 150 feet per second faster. And still getting a significant amount more energy on target. But yeah, let's just stick with heavy for caliber. So now we're approaching plus P, just over, supersonic, or right at that level, 500 foot-pounds of energy. The slow 200 grain, 10 millimeters, still going 1250. That's insane. Still going 1250, so that's basically like as fast as a 9 millimeter goes, standard pressure, but that's with a significantly heavier bullet and approaching 700 foot-pounds of energy. That's like a fair defense type load right there. And like I said, you gotta check your firearm platform. Put lots of rounds through it. Might cost you a lot, but as your life and the life of your loved ones worth, doing your due diligence to check to make sure these rounds can function through your platform of whatever you shoot, whether it's Glock, SIG, 1911, you name it. So clear winner here, wins out in every category, the 10 millimeter or 45, no question. I think a more accurate comparison, which is a more boutique caliber that maybe some of y'all haven't heard of, is a 9x25 Dillon, which is a 9 millimeter bullet neck down in a 10 millimeter case. That's a pretty interesting concept. Don't know if it has the same, feeding reliability concepts that the 357 SIG claims to. But be interested to see how that stacks up against the 10 millimeter, maybe for a different video. We're already approaching, over 23 minutes, so that's just my take on calibers. And whenever you hear someone compare the 40 to the 9 millimeter, just be that educated person and say, yep, in the years, the 9 millimeter has bumped up in performance and is definitely a viable option now in today's market. However, the 40 Smith & Wesson has also done the same, and there's also the option of the 357 SIG. So, the market's changed, for the better as far as, the technology and bullets and self-defense bullets, ballistics. But we're not comparing, it's all kind of raised, and the bar has kind of been risen in all areas. So you just keep that in mind. If you can handle it and your skill can handle, the more recoil of these rounds, as far as the 40, 357 SIG, I'd say go with that if you can afford to shoot it. And then the 9 millimeter, just know it's a viable option, but don't let someone tell you that it's the same cartridge, because it's not. It's different, and it definitely is slower in a lot of aspects than the 40 Smith & Wesson, and it's less potent of a round. And like I said before, yeah, you'll get a couple more bullets, 3, but when you're comparing 12 bullets to 15 bullets or cartridges in a magazine, I mean, if you're blowing through that many rounds, maybe you should consider, what kind of situations you put yourself in, or where you're traveling. And plus, 9 times out of 10, if you got that, if it's a duty carry, you're gonna have a spare magazine. So, short of going into combat, needing as many rounds as possible, I could see, a viable option. 12 rounds is more than enough, which is standard P229 and P226 carry in their magazines. And like a Glock 19 carries 15, so you're giving up 3 rounds to have that 600 foot-pounds of energy on target, as opposed to that 500 foot-pounds. So it's your decision. I'll let you make it. This is Rifleman Reviews, reminding you that to support your Second Amendment rights, because that's all we have between us and tyranny. Get out there, shoot often, and shoot straight. God bless America.